What's up, everyone? I'm Jacob, here bringing you Week 6 of the Littleroot Lessons Team Draft League. Once again, playing for the Chicago Double Darms. Very excited. We are 5-0 on the season up to this point in the year, which is incredible. Out of 10 teams, there are 9 weeks, so hopefully we can complete the full 9-0 season. It would be great. This week we're playing the Alpha Ampharos. I do not know their record off the top of my head, but, you know, gotta win your weeks every single week. Right now, our team is 1-1 against the Alpha Ampharos. Hopefully, I can bring us ahead as of right now and get forward through the rest of the week. Of course, as always, going to start with a brief or maybe not so brief overview of the team here at the beginning of the video. If you just want to skip straight to the battles, there'll be timestamps in the description below. While you're down there, you can also take a look at the Poke Paste for this team, since I'm not going to go over every single EV in this overview. And while you're down there still, drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Really brings a smile to my face. So talking about the team, as you can see, we are running a new version of the N.U.T core. It was very popular in Series 9, of course featuring the Urshifu, Nihilego, Urshifu, and Thundurus. Thundurus really isn't that great with non-Dynamax formats, in my opinion, unless you're running the supportive set, which, you know, you really don't need on this team. Really do want a Pokemon that's going to do a little bit more damage, and so we put Tapu Koko in that spot, and with the defensive core that I've built around the team, as you can see in the naming slot there, we are running the Thick Nut team, which I'm very, very proud of. Solid naming conventions there. But yeah, starting with our main attackers, you know, Nihilego just does what Nihilego does. Power Herb, Meteor Beam, gets boosts, and sweeps. If we had the speed advantage, Nihilego does great things. It is pretty quick, not the fastest thing in the format, and so that's why we do have Cresselia here to help slow other things down with our Icy Winds. Can reverse the dimensions with the Trick Room that allows us to, you know, deal with opposing Tailwind teams pretty easily, as well as Cresselia just sticks around on the field forever. It does a great job at what it does. Psyshock is there, does decent bit of damage, can get around a Tapu Fini's Calm Mind boost, can deal pretty good damage into Amoonguss, but the big thing is that opposing Nihilegos can give this team a little bit of trouble, and so because Nihilego has really good base defense, or special defense, but awful base defense, Psyshock actually deals with Nihilego's Knock-Dells, things like that pretty well too. You also have Urshifu, Focus Sash. This is Water Urshifu, not the Dark type. That is more common on the Series 9 N.U.T cores. But Urshifu, again, just deals damage. We're max speed, max attack. Surging Strikes is really, really strong. I originally had a Dark Urshifu in this slot, as well as a Landorus Eye on the team too, but you know, I just think the Water Urshifu, especially with the support of the Heatran, it deals with opposing Landrases a lot better, and it, in general, just provides a little bit more coverage. You know, you got the Fire, Water, Grass core, that's super nice. Another Fire Resist on the team too never hurts. And Tapu Koko with, you know, mostly max speed, max HP, almost max HP. You know, we got a little bit of investment in our defenses and our special attack too, but even without too much special attack investment, in electric terrain with the Magnet, Thunderbolt does a ton of damage to neutral targets. Dazzling Gleam is really nice to deal with opposing Urshifus, Dragapults too, things like that, and of course Electroweb for a little bit more speed control, and Volt Switch to get in the defensive pivots like Serena and Heatran. This Heatran set, shout out Spac in the Discord for throwing me the spread and the idea to even put a Heatran on this team. It's another check to, you know, your Knock-Dells, to your Dragapults, deals with opposing Tapu Lele's pretty well, and even a Tapu Fini, you know, can, depending on how much special attack investment they have, might not even two-shot Heatran with a Muddy Water, because of the leftovers we can protect a turn, you know, get some HP back that way. So it's really nice. As a defensive Pokemon, Serena Assault Vest allows us to live an Elandris' Sludge Bomb, allows us to live most Knock-Dells Sludge Bombs too, which is insane. But just there to, you know, be defensive, stop priority moves, which this team does not like. Really likes to be in control of the speed. That's one of the big things. One of the things I've struggled with a little bit in testing with the team is like opposing Dragapult, Clefairy stuff. But Sub Heatran, Dazzling Gleam, Koko, and of course Serena with the triple Axle, if I can get around their follow me turns, deal with Dragapults reasonably well. You know, just forces me to play a little bit more linearly in a specific sense, But overall, I like the team a lot. I wish I had more time to practice with it during the week, as starting a new job and all kinds of stuff just gets in the way. But I'm a big fan. How can you not love the thick nut team? And so I am going to pause the recording now. We'll start the battles in just a couple of minutes, and I'll see you then. Alright, starting up here. Just gotta laugh every time I see it. The thick nut team we are bringing against Knark this week. I didn't really talk about that in the open, but against Knark, I don't know too much about them. Couldn't find too much in scouting. And with it being a pretty new format, don't know what to expect too much, but they're bringing a pretty similar team. Nice. Okay. So we see Cresselia, Heatran, Amoonguss. I do actually have a notebook in front of me this time, which is honestly, I think maybe the second time. I feel like I had a notebook at week 3 or something. Tapu Fini and Thundurus. All right. So a similar idea from their team, where they have a couple of different forms of speed control. I think I can outspeed them pretty consistently. I like Nihilego a lot here. Yeah, Nihilego just put on early offensive pressure. Paired with a Tapu Koko feels pretty strong. But actually I like Cress with Koko in the back. And it's either Heatran or Serena. The Serena deals with the Tapu Fini. Heatran deals with the Amoonguss. Let's go Serena for this one. I am leading. Let's see. Yeah, against balanced teams like this, Nihilego has a pretty good matchup. I don't want to say too much, as they do go Fini Thundurus. Implies to me a supportive Thundurus. Yeah. Implies to me supportive some Thundurus, but I don't want to... Is that Telepathy on Tapu Fini? That's the other ability. They're not Misty Surge. Huh. I guess with Amoonguss on the team, you don't want... Huh. I'm gonna Psyshock into the Fini. And protect Nihilego, because I want to scout this Thundurus, see what they are doing. Yeah, it is Eerie Impulse. Alright. And Muddy Water. Sounds good to me. Muddy Water is going to bounce off Crest pretty well. That's actually decent damage. And we get the accuracy drop, which isn't great. But we know that they are not leftovers now too, which is beautiful. So we know Prankster, we know that the Fini's not lefties. I do not want to leave my Nihilego in against this. This is a very good moment to swap out into Serena. And honestly, I'm thinking... Yeah, I think that's Specs Fini. So I'm going to Icy Wind here just for a little bit of damage and slow the Thundurus down, so they can't do too much. Yeah, I think that's Specs. To do that much, to do 60, as they go into Thundurus. And they go out to Landorus. Oh, that's nice. We do eat up an attack drop on our Serena. But yeah, to do that much to Cresselia, they do have to be Specs. We Icy Wind, we're going to miss. Landorus, which isn't great. But the Landorus can't do too much to our Serena. And we have a pretty free Power Whip. I wanted to go to this screen. They could have their own crest. They do have some switch-ins to a Power Whip. I actually want to just triple axle this Landers. Because we didn't get an... because we didn't get the accuracy drop, I think triple axle is pretty safe. I'm going to Moonlight here just to get crest healed back up. I would think Feeny probably wants to switch out. Yep. Goes out into a Moongus. And a U-turn. That does a lot. That does a lot from that U-turn. I'm okay, so they go back out to Feeny. I'm gonna get, you know, a little bit... we get our crest heal back up too, which is the important part. Sorry, I'm furiously taking notes here. Yeah, Serena's pretty low. I think that might be Banded Landers. It was my thought process. With as much damage as that did. I think I just leave Serena in here and just Power Whip into that slot. And we go out into Tapu Koko to block any Spore shenanigans into the crest slot. We have revealed all 4 of ours, but they've revealed all 4 of theirs too. And the Koko is going to put on some pressure next turn. The crest is also... I don't want to have that accuracy drop because that could be really annoying later in the game. As it's Dazzling Gleam, is this going to take out Serena? It doesn't. We get the Power Whip off, so they're pretty quick Feeny too. And it does not quite KO. Oh, that's a bummer. It doesn't quite KO, but... we can go into Nihilego now. We can save Serena as a sack for later. Is that the play? Or do I want to triple axle this Amoonguss? I actually want to... I want to triple axle into the Feeny in case they swap out into Landorus in that slot. And Dazzling Gleam. Because they switch out Feeny here. They do go into Landorus. If we hit this triple axle... if we hit this triple axle, we're in a great spot. So Lando T, we do see Intimidate. Of course, Gleam's going to come out. Deal decent damage. It's not nothing. But we do get the triple axle off into the Landorus. And if we get all 3 hits... we only get 2. We only get 2... and a Clear Smog goes into Tapu Koko. We didn't have any stat changes, so that doesn't change too much. Not getting all 3 of those hits is a bummer. They do have... yeah, they do threaten a double KO this turn. How many more turns of Electric Terrain do I have? I have 3. That should be enough. And we're at -2. I forgot that we'd already eaten up 1 attack drop. I think I'm okay sacking... I want to triple X into the Landorus if they let me, and then Volt Switch on that Amoonguss. Go ahead into Crest here. So I think then clicking, you know, an Earthquake or a Rock Slide seems pretty likely. Crest should be able to eat up Rock Slide pretty well, and of course Levitate isn't affected by the Earthquake. Landorus U-turns again. I do want to run a quick damage calc. U-turn. Okay, so they might not be banded. I think probably they aren't banded. Adds another Clear Smog. Is going to come out into Crest, not going to do anything. Not going to do much into Cress. We go into Helynt here. And we can... I'm thinking protect Psyshock into the Amoonguss. But I like just Icy Wind and Meteor Beam the Thunderous. So I was thinking Eerie Impulse comes out here. But we get the +1 from Meteor Beam, which, depending on how much bulk they have, the Meteor Beam probably won't KO. But the Icy Wind on the follow-up should be able to get this knockout. I'd imagine they're pretty bulky, so we probably won't KO with the Meteor Beam. Because we're at -1, but it's still very, very strong. We are going to connect. I don't know if that is in range, and especially now with the Citrus. Okay. Or a Wiki. Wow. Wiki Berry, the Amoonguss of dodges. We are going to slow down the Thunderous for what it's worth. And Spore comes out into Crest, makes sense. Alright. So we've gotten a Helynt now at -1. We protect and just burn a turn to sleep here. I'm really not worried about the Amoonguss's damage output right now. They go into Landorus. I would imagine they just keep trying to Eerie Impulse down the Nihilego. That makes sense to me. And so if we can take advantage of this, we Thunder Wave. Okay. So I click Thunder Wave, Cress is still asleep. The Landorus here is going to go for an Earthquake, almost certainly. So the way that we deal with this... could be Scarflando too. Cress has taken 1 turn of sleep. We go... Electricity just disappeared. So we can sack Coco and Icy Wind. Okay, that's speed control. Unless their Scarflando, our Nihilego is going to outspeed anyway. But if we get some Icy Winds up, then even if we get paralyzed and they're, let's say, we get paralyzed, if we get them to -2, we can still outspeed. Just behinded material, which isn't great. Letting the Feeny go down that early. We don't get confirmation on the Landorus' item because the Thunder's, of course, is Prankster. But if they are choice locked, they pose no threat to Cresselia right now. Which, cool. Crest does wake up and get the Icy Wind off, though. Landorus again dodges, which is really unfortunate because if we hit both of those Icy Winds, that Landorus would be gone by now. Okay. There is still a way out of this game. There is still a way out of this game. And I do have to take out the Thunderous this turn. So I protect, I Psyshock into Thunderous. The way into this one is if they are not Scarfed Lando. Eerie Impulse comes out into Cress. Okay, so that's a good read on their part. To read into my protect there. but Psyshock probably won't get the KO this turn on Thundurus, which is unfortunate. They go into Feeny. The thing is, we do live a... We're faster than Feeny anyway, but we do live a Muddy Water from Feeny. So what we do... And we know the Feeny is Specs. We know the Feeny is Specs. We're faster than it with Nihilego. If we Sludge Bomb that slot, and just making sure, again, we haven't taken any... yeah, we Sludge Bomb the Feeny. We know that they're not Scarfed Lando because they switched up moves, so we can Sludge Bomb Feeny and Psyshock into Thundurus. They do get the Thunder Wave off, which is really unfortunate. But again, we do live a Muddy Water. We do not live a Scald. We do live a Scald. Okay. Honestly, Crest might be able to win this game. Crest might be able to win this game. Because we do get the Sludge Bomb off. And for Landorus here, we've seen U-turn, we've seen Earthquake. They're going to have to pick... Yeah, we're at 170, so we're going to still outspeed the Amoonguss. But if they... I think we have to attack with Nihilego here. We have to attack with Nihilego here because if they read into a Protect and you turn into Cress, we're in a pretty bad spot. But if they Earthquake with Landorus, then Nihilego goes down, but we do get the Icy Wind off. Cress maybe outspeeds Landorus next turn. We are at -2 special attack, which is a bummer. But this should still be a 2-hit KO, I would think. Rock Slide comes out, it does connect, it is going to knock out Nihilego. And they do have the flinch chance. So a Rock Slide miss was a way out for us that turn. Icy Wind, I want to see damage on this too. We're at -2. It's not a 2-hit KO even on that Landorus, which is unfortunate. We're going to get spored by Amoonguss here, and that's going to be the game. All right. Okay. So we've seen... Yeah. Coming up with the game plan, I like Heatran a lot into the team they brought. I can quit now. I'm also running out of my time, too, because I've been taking so long taking notes. Okay. Okay. After seeing their team, they led Feeny Thundurus game 1. Of course, we're taking their lead card. Back to the Thick Nut team. And... gotta drop the GG, of course. I don't like Heatran as much as I thought, actually, with Specs Feeny. That's a scary proposition. But Serena, if I can conserve Serena better, I feel good about this. So what I want to do, we also know that they're not Misty Terrain on Feeny, which allows the Landers to go for Earthquakes next to it and doesn't block the Amoonguss from being put to sleep. So I like just hard Serena Coco with Nihilego, and I do still like Cress in the back. I think Nihilego is still the answer. It outspeeds their whole team, and we still do huge damage to that Thundurus. I mean, we saw even with them getting the Eerie Impulse off and us being at -1, the Meteor being almost one-shot. So I like Nihilego still, and I like Cress for the speed control for Serena, because we know that their Feeny is pretty quick. Yeah, I think it's the same 4. The Urshifu's just threatened by so much this match. As they go Feeny Cress. They go Feeny Cresselia, which is absolutely fine by me, I think, at this point in the game. So we do have our Electric Terrain up. I have my own Cresselia in the back, so I'm not terribly worried about the Landorus if it does want to switch into the Feeny slot. I like... I mean... Thunderbolt... Or, not Thunderbolt, but Electroweb Triple Axle feels like a very strong turn 1. I like Power Whip, though, in case the Feeny does want to stay in. They could also try to set up Trick Room here. So I'm going to Power Whip into the Feeny slot, because I know they can't protect, and I'm going to try to Volt Switch. If they switch out to Landorus, we get damage on it with the Power Whip, as that's Amoonguss. Okay. They go hard into Amoonguss, which is a little interesting, I think. I am going to go Crest because I don't want to take any damage on the Hylego if I don't need to. I do want it at full if it does have to live a Muddy Watered later down the line. And them going for, like, you know, a Psychic or a Psyshock into my Hylego slot could happen. But they do eat the Power Whip. Implies to me no Landorus, as we do see the Rocky Helmet too. As they go Trick Room. They Trick Room up. I have to count my turns carefully here. So one play is just go hard into Nihilego for the Cresselia. Or go just back into Koko. Is probably better. And we can U-turn on Cress and go back into Koko so that we don't get anything put to sleep at this point in the game. It's a pretty easy play to read into for them. But I'm not too worried about the Amoonguss' damage output, and we do get a U-turn on whatever that slot is. It is Heatran. So no Landorus. They Spore. Okay. So we do get our U-turn off. Heatran under Trick Room is a little spooky, gonna be honest. If I go into Hylego, I definitely drop to an Earth Power. Yeah, 100%. No doubt drop to an Earth Power. Unless they're, like, not max special attack. Which mine isn't, but I would imagine that theirs probably is. Let's go back into Cress on that U-turn. I think that's just pretty safe. We could get put to sleep here. But our Tapu Koko should live. I would imagine we get put to sleep here. I do want to try to reverse the Trick Room. And we're just going to T-Bolt. We should live in Earth Power if they go for that into the Koko slot. As they just clear Smog. So they're going to clear Smog. Is that a crit? No. Wow. And they sub. A very aggressive turn on their end. And I think we're gonna come out of it pretty well. Because we're going to break their substitute on the Heatran. And we get the Trick Room reversed. Which is huge. Yeah, I definitely don't want Trick Room up this game. No way do I want Trick Room up this game. So let's just Psyshock into that Amoonguss and T-Bolt the Heatran. We know that they didn't bring Landorus this game, so they don't have any electric immunities. It means that Koko can kind of run free a little bit, which is nice. That's the thing about Spikemuth Cup 2, is that it's a very... I was... talked about this the other day too, but the matchups feel a lot more volatile, just because there's so many more Pokemon that are available. or viable, not just not available actually, but yeah, there's so many more Pokemon that you can use. As communication was interrupted. Okay. Have to see what that was. As the Thunderbolt comes out, Crit Para is really funny. Communication interrupted. I don't love that. Don't even like that. Zero Power is going to come out into Koko. That's just going to pick up the KO. But yeah, I'm still connected to the internet. So, gonna try to figure this out with Knark in the Discord. I am recording though, so I will be back in a second. I'll probably pause here. I'll be back in a second once we have this figured out. All right, back here with second try at game 2. Yeah, we are. Yeah, both connected to the internet. You saw mine right there. So, just replaying game 2, acting like that one never happened, goes down basically as just a draw. It's middle of the game, can't really recreate that scenario. I led Serena Coco, that one. I still like the Nihilego lead, I'm gonna be honest. The problem is if they lead, like, I like Nihilego Coco. And if they're going to play around Heatran, I do like Urshifu, but I don't know who I would drop for that. I think Serena's still really important in this game. I think Cress is a no-brainer. The Amoonguss is a problem. My best way to deal with that is Cress. I am going to go Urshifu. Still... Game 2, still down 0-1 in the set right now. So, have to make some plays. No Serena. They don't have priority outside of the Thundurus, which, I could use, but I'm not terribly worried about the Thundurus still. As we are going to see Feeny Cress. Okay, so same lead from them. Same lead from them. As they do see from me, Coco and Nihilego. This is a good time, too, to find out if they do have Flanders. I like just big click, Meteor Beam into that slot, and try to Volt Switch. Because, again, we know Feeny doesn't have Protect. They could go into Landorus, but they're going to take a huge hit. Yeah, okay, they're staying in with Feeny too. Massive. If we can hit this Meteor Beam, we are in a great spot. Gonna go ahead into Cress. Kinda have to. So let's see. Meteor Beam comes out. We are Power Herb. I missed a ton of 90% accurate moves last week. I was going to say last game, but last week. The animation's very, very long, and we do miss. Right there. That is awful. We get the accuracy drop, and Trick Room comes out. Okay, so that is the worst way that that turn could have gone. Okay. That is awful. We know they're locked into Muddy Water. Doesn't change too much for me. I want to keep Nihilego around. I want to try to, I want to try to twist the dimensions back. They could Trick Room my Trick Room, but I don't think that's a play they have to make necessarily. Yeah, I think I do have to go for Protect Trick Room this turn, and then hope that I can hit a Sludge Bomb that's 75% accurate next turn. I think that's where we're at. They're Feeny, we get the confirmation, or they are Trick Rooming my Trick Room, actually, because their Feeny is fast. So Cress does live that. We Trick Room, they Trick Room back, because they know that they have to, or they know that I have to Trick Room, so they can get the Trick Room again. So we can go Urshifu here and Moonlight. We do know our Cress is slower than their Feeny, so we're at least going to get the Moonlight off and we'll be able to stick around to the field. I didn't see if our Cresselia had taken any... I didn't see if our Cresselia had taken an accuracy drop. As they Psyshock, it goes into, yep, my Urshifu. That plus Muddy Water might do it. Urshifu does hang around, though. We do take an accuracy drop. And it's a fresh turn of Trick Room, so it's 3 more turns. We do not have an accuracy drop on Cresselia. This turn, I read into them Trick Rooming my Trick Room. I think they're far enough ahead that they also don't need to do that. But either way, I'm just going to get some damage off with Psyshock here. We detect. I think we saw that our Crest was slower than theirs too, or at least it's the speed type. We don't have any speed investment. Psyshock comes out. It doesn't get the KO. Even on a crit. As they Psyshock into my Cresselia. And, I mean, they're still relying on Muddy Water to hit. It's going to go into the Protect here. And it does hit my Crest. Okay, there is a way back. There is a way back. We can Aqua Jet into the Feeny. We Aqua Jet the Feeny and Cresselia Moonlights. Then we can Protect in the last turn of Trick Room. With whatever is next to Cresselia, probably Nihilego at that point. But I think Feeny probably switches that to like a Mungus this turn. Heatran. Okay, well at least get damage on this. We take that. Absolute. Because we got the accuracy drop. That is super, super unfortunate. That is awful. Okay. So there's one more turn of Trick Room. I can bring out Nihilego and Protect, but they also can sub with Heatran. I also don't have my Power Herb anymore because I wasted it on that miss on Feeny, which should have fainted turn 1. Coco doesn't have Protect, but at least will live an Earth Power. We can get damage on Heatran. We haven't seen Protect from them, but almost certainly Heatran is packing Protect and probably Heat Wave as the last 2. That's the same set as mine, if it's those last 2 moves. The Crest is super annoying because it deals with Nihilego. And I've already used up, what, 2 Moonlights? So I can't stall their Crest out. So I do actually have to deal damage to it at some point. Yeah. I was debating switching Cresselia out hard into Nihilego, assuming that they would just leave it alone this turn. That's really strong. They yeah, so they're max special attack. And then Psyshock's going to come out into Tapu Koko. Yeah, if I'd gone out into Nihilego, then honestly, I mean, I still lose. Yeah. I still lose Tapu Koko. This is really, really unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, this is just the worst way this game could have gone. A couple of huge misses. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing I can really do at this point. I can't one-shot Cresselia, and both of their Pokemon can one-shot Nihilego. I mean, I have to Power Gem the Heatran, and I mean, my Crest really just doesn't do anything right now. Yeah, the thing is, like, if they... I don't think they need to protect that turn. If they just double attack, they're probably just setting up Trick Room, or Psyshock is fine too. Yeah. I don't think had any reason to protect there. Even with, you know, the smallest amount of bulk, a crit Power Gem from Nihilego is doing like 62%. So yeah, that's gonna be that one. That's super unfortunate. After a game 2 where I felt that, you know, it was still very even, of course. But I was about to pick up the KO on the Amoonguss, and we had Trick Room reversed. So that's really unfortunate on the disconnect there. Yeah. Cool. I just want to, cancel the battle. Yeah. Bummer. That's our first loss here in the Littleroot Lessons Team Draft League. Again, you know, I had a ton of fun so far, still having fun with it, even through some tough times. Man, the last 2 weeks have really not been kind to me. Spikemuth Cup, they hate to see you win. Send a GG's over. Yeah, no, it's tough. It's really tough. If I hit that Meteor Beam turn 1, completely different game. Yeah, it's whatever. Not much more to say. You know, Thick Nut team is very good. I like Thick Nut team. I really dislike the strong special attacking poison types with 90% accurate stab moves. Those are really doing me dirty here lately. So next week, watch me. Yeah, I mean, next week, shoot, I'm bringing Whimsicott HO back, but we're running Dragapult with only 100% accurate moves, and that's gonna be that. You know, or running Hard Trick Room with Stakataka. You know, we're not missing moves next week. That's one promise I'm gonna make to you right now. But yeah, so that's gonna be everything for me this week. Unfortunate, but shout out Knark. Great sport. You know, figuring out all of the technical difficulties that we ran into there in game 2. Congrats to them too. I don't know their record off the top of my head, but I think it's pretty good. I think they're, you know, clearly a pretty good player. Yeah, that's going to be everything for me this week. Hopefully next time it's a little bit easier, a little bit better. But when that time comes, I'll see you then.